This is Marek Fuchs here today to talk about healthcare stocks on the stock market at large last week, and more importantly, try to puzzle out what might be happening in the coming week. Now, the coming week will obviously be a bit of an oddity. In other words, as the week progresses, interest will go down. There'll be less traders around, traders will be distracted, they'll be knocked out on eggnog in preparation for Monday's holiday. Monday will be Christmas Day Eve, but that means in all probability a light trading week toward the end of the week, which obviously conjures up a few issues. Number one, news might be overreacted to. You have to be really careful if sharp moves up and sharp moves down in a thinly traded market. The moves tend not to last. They tend to be rectified if they were the result of this sort of heightened reaction when all the traders come back for vacation. There's something else to look out for that we'll talk about at the end of this video. But as for last week, there was a very positive article in Barron's about J&J, a company that has flustered investors to the extent that the king of buying and holding forever, Warren Buffett, actually dropped the stock like a bad habit. He screamed and ran from the room. But now Barron's comes around saying that J&J is on the mend, and rightfully pointing to its undervalued and underrated pharmaceutical division. So let your fingers do the walking and check out that article. Also, Lilly, for its part, crushed or at least pushed off expectations by saying they had to do a couple more years of tests on their Alzheimer's drug and won't be sending it to the FDA. The stock predictably declined sharply on the news, which was disappointing. As for the Fed, well, they're going to continue their so-called quantitative easing, printing money to buy up securities in the hope of jump-starting or kick-starting or whatever you want to call it, the economy. The watchword here obviously is inflation, the one and only problem this economy hasn't had. But if you keep printing money, that's the end game, and that's something we obviously need to look for. Also, the anti-union legislation in Michigan, not bad news long-term for business in general. This is one of those issues, no matter where you are politically, you have to separate that out from how it might impact bottom lines of companies. And this can only help, though it will take so much time for it to wind through the system that you really don't bake that into your assumptions. It's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Well, let's just talk about this week at this point. On Wednesday, Federal Express reports. This is always a really big report for a couple of reasons. Number one, they are a true harbinger of the economy, especially now where so much of commerce is done online and sent out. Number two, a lot of companies play economists, but FedEx has a long history of being pretty accurate, and if not accurate, at least very forthright. I mean, they also tell you when things aren't going well, and whenever they're wrong, at least it's well thought through. It's not always self-serving. So the market will be leaning in closely and listening to their earnings report, but more so, they'll be listening to anything FedEx says about the economy going forward. Now, Medifast meets with analysts, the diet company. It's an important meeting to lean in close and listen to because their CFO left a couple weeks ago, so it's always important. And obviously, Medifast, it's trading at a 52-week high, but it's been a really wild ride. Now, the FDA is going to look at Hemisphere's chronic fatigue syndrome drug. This is a really interesting case. I mean, this drug has been in development since time immemorial, and chronic fatigue syndrome is really representative of one of these controversial diseases. There's no agreement on the disease, let alone the treatment. So how the FDA and how the media deals with this might be really instructive for drugs and diseases of this type. Also, hey, look, here's what we have again. Though there's no holiday per se this week, since the week gets so quiet toward the end of it, we really have to look for companies who are trying to hide any bad news, trying to slip it in there before the year ends, hoping that traders will be out on vacation or drunk on eggnog and won't be paying attention. So we will be, and we'll be talking next week about any news they tried to slip by you under the cover of night. If you disagree with me on any of this, and you clearly won't, but if you happen to, feel free to tweet me. My Twitter handle is down below. Also feel free to tweet me any questions, and most of all, have a happy, healthy, and profitable week.